All right. I'm Roy Wood. About 50 years ago,
And I am not a cat.
I suppose I could take my glass. No, I can't take my glasses off because I can't. I suppose I could take them off, but if I get
Actually,
in
now that
this
look like a
close,
scene from Airplane.
if I get in this close, yeah, I can read the stuff. This should work out well. All right, I got to put them back on.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I suppose if
I
I'm,
think I think that's enough filtering for the day.
well, let's see. What if I turn, there we go, 96. Oh, yeah, now I can read the stuff. One word takes up one line. If I blow it up to 96 point. All right. Undo. Okay, there we go. All right. That's
Yep.
we're screwing around for now. Um, Comments about Indian Queen, which actually there was quite a few of them, which
Yeah, that surprised me.
surprised me too.
Rich Wisniewski says, unimpressive song to me. I commend you all for being true to your mission of including every E.L.O. song in the podcast. But Dr. Troy's Robin Gibb impersonation is 1 minute and 20 seconds of my life I'll never get back. I did want to go on there. I was trying to search for where you posted it because my entire comment this time is just going to be WTF, Troy. What
You
the
know,
heck was that?
you're not the only one. Vinnie Corbett, Rich Wisniewski. I think Dr. Troy believes he was totally hilarious in that last podcast. I can usually tolerate his segment, but seriously, this one was really stupid and irritating.
I really didn't know where he was going, what he was going for on that, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, we still have a couple more comments about it before I say something.
Okay. William Wallace. Oh my God, we even annoyed the hero of Scotland. He's shown up after 900 years.
You wonder what would bring him
He
back
is
from the
mad.
you wonder what would bring him back from the dead, and it was that.
Yes. Rich, can I interest you in staying alive? Notice how I didn't do any bad imitation. I just read it.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
Mike Hudson, Rich Wisniewski. I thought my iPad was broken at first.
Trevor Raggett. I'm guessing that Dr. Troy's doctorate isn't in music with a vocal performance major then, or humor.
Yeah, yeah, no. Yeah, I cringed when I heard that too. Um, don't don't do that again, Troy. If
Yeah.
this is your go-to move to try and woo women, I can understand why you're still single. Don't don't do that.
Yeah. My go-to to woo women is usually just quote Burger King.
And it worked out for them.
Yeah.
In the future, and even some people now who don't understand what's going on, when all of this is forgotten in about a week, Burger King posted a Twitter post that said, "Women belong in the kitchen." And then after the outrage for a few hours, they posted another reply to that tweet because there are way too many men working in the cooking field, and we should get more women for an equal balance of,
Yeah, it's for scholarship, but
yeah,
yeah, but it's something that a troll like me would do on International Women's Day because nobody cares who I am. And and anybody who's going to read it knows, it's Eric. Yeah, he
Derek,
doesn't mean it.
he's
So
just making a stupid sexist joke, which Eric Paul Johnson replies to with his own stupid sexist joke. So,
exactly.
but it's all in
But
silliness. It's not all in keeping women down.
yeah, but I'm not a major corporation going, women belong in the kitchen.
Yeah, unless of course the woman likes to be tied down. Yeah, I
In the
can't do
kitchen.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
My go-to pickup line usually is, I have a huge Legoland on the floor in my apartment with 4 running trains and a life-size latex Yoda. And then they leave.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Maybe I should bring up that I got the lightsaber too. Ooh. The lightsaber field distorts the glasses. I could
Yes, it
sit here and
does.
I could sit here and do this all day, but I think at some point people watching this are going to be like, "All right, we get it."
Well, it's still not. It's still not as annoying as that segment.
Yeah, yeah. Don't do that again, Troy. And I didn't understand what it had to do with Indian Queen either, but there it was.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tracer Anthony, one of my favorite designs for you guys. He's the guy who does those fantastic cover art pictures when I can't find something, that either goes with the song or I think Tracer could do something way much better.
Mhm.
To be honest, I really don't know what the meaning behind the song is, but the woman pictured is Anita Delgado. She was a Spanish flamenco dancer that the Maharaja Capertala fell in love with.
Think
I,
so.
I think I eventually said that right. Is that right?
Copperthala,
Uh,
most
I,
likely, or I think that's what it is.
I meant of. Hopefully, I said that right. They married in 1907, and she became part of the royal family. In other words, an Indian queen.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't use Wiscusa though.
Is
Wiscusa is a an Indian queen who lives backwards through time and kills all the men that she falls in love with.
I missed that episode of Quantum Leap.
No, it's from the Residence Wellness Fats movie that they tried to
Okay.
do. Anyway,
Yeah.
Mike Hudson says, "Why does Jeff sound like a combination of John Fogerty and some old blues singer on this flashback version of the song? It's an okay song, nothing spectacular lyrically in either the demo version or the more upbeat sight and sound version. I'm sure in today's cancel culture, someone would be offended by the title and want it removed from an album if it had been properly recorded. So maybe it's a good thing it wasn't. That's about all I have to say on that."
I did kind of wonder about that. Not so much cancel culture. Seems more like a white person whine thing. Um,
Yeah.
uh, but there is something that kind of, if you really want to look a little too deep into it, I can see where it would kind of skirt the Jeff, I don't know if that's appropriate kind of thing. Which we'll probably get into a little bit in another comment, but not this very next one. Just came to say I'm really curious about the next couple of tracks in particular. In particular, Helpless is one of my favorite E.L.O. tracks and still one of the top 5 released since the 80s. IOM. Well, wait till Friday. Or is it next week? It's either Friday or next week that we get into it. And you'll hear what we think then. Not to give
Yep.
any spoilers away.
Trevor Raggett says, "Interesting to hear this demo come up on the podcast and get your takes on it. Given that it's really just a fragment sketch, there's not much to be said about it, and the lyrics which we get don't really give much of a clue as what was behind Jeff's thinking in writing it. However, a possible theory, there are a number of historical stories from the 17th century which revolve around a possible Indian queen, that is, not a Native American, but a queen from India, visiting the UK, or rather a fake one, sort of an elaborate long con. Probably apocryphal, but interesting nonetheless. I grew up in Cornwall, and a few miles from where I lived was a small village called Indian Queens. The local legend was that it was named from a story which was carved in the beams of the old 16th, 17th century pub in the village, which was sadly demolished in the 50s or 60s, although its old pub sign was still visible in a local museum. The story told of a mysterious, beautiful woman who landed on a boat at Falmouth and claimed to be a queen or princess from India who was traveling to the royal court in London. As such, she was treated like royalty. Whilst on the way to London, she stayed for a period at the inn, presumably free of charge, as a guest of the innkeeper, who clearly thought there might be something in it for him longer term. Soon after the Queen moved on, the pub was renamed the Indian Queen, and over time the village became Indian Queens. Except that it turns out she wasn't a queen from India. She was a Portuguese woman whose more Southern European skin tone allowed her to con the locals, and she was from an exotic land. Oh, the locals that she was from an exotic land far away to con them out of free food and lodgings. More recently, a theory is circulated regarding Pocahontas staying there and giving the village its name. However, local historians universally dismiss this as a more recent urban myth that arose in the 90s, once the fact that Pocahontas lived out her last years of her life in town near London, Gravesend, perhaps on the back of publicity around the Disney movie. Was that old legend in Jeff's mind when he was writing the song? Who knows, but it's an interesting potential connection nonetheless. Indian Queen sounds like a strange. It sounds like an alternate borough of New York.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It brings up images of Native American queens, um, you know, men in
Oh,
drag.
I was thinking. I wasn't thinking Native American. I was thinking. Yeah, combining a Queen's accent with with an Indian accent, and then but which I'm not going to do.
Yeah.
I don't want to make us that famous, but
um, I'm pretty well. I like that story. I think that would have been a good song if that's what it was. But um I don't think that would have been it. Because he says or he sings near the beginning or at the beginning something like in the happy hunting ground, which pretty much sounds like it's lifted from every white American movie making director of any Western TV show or movie that describes, you know, where Indians live in the happy hunting grounds. So that's why I'm thinking it's American Indian. But I think what Trevor? Go up here. Yes, Trevor. I like Trevor's story. That would have made for a good song too. And we got
yeah.
one last comment from Aaron Jansen. Year,
Okay.
Years ago, when my family drove down to the States, we went to a Seattle record store and I saw Flashback. I was so tempted to buy it because I had seen it featured in the booklets of the E.L.O. reissue CDs. Instead, my dad convinced me to buy the 25th anniversary reissue of Band on the Run, which became one of my favorite albums. Honestly, it's the first good album McCartney did after the Beatles. So, oh yeah. Even though I would end up owning all of ELO albums eventually, I still kind of regret not buying Flashback all those years ago. Thank you for sharing some of Jeff's quotes from Flashback's booklet. In some ways, that's the real treasure of the box set. I mean, all of the bonus songs are available now in many formats. As for Indian Queen, I too was disappointed when it wasn't the more fully completed demo. Although the demo does shed some light on Jeff's songwriting process. The more fully completed demo, I believe, comes from the Kenny Everett Show, the man who would famously leak songs before the release date. I think Bohemian Rhapsody being one of them. Kenny was also the president of the Idle Race fan club. I didn't know that. So he was a longtime Lynn fan. The yelling bits in the song must be Kenny Everett. Yeah, the one I got off of Napster, it didn't include any intro or outro, but when I was looking up stuff for this song to get ready for the episode, I did come across the more fully uh, Kenny Everett, that it was from Kenny Everett show because he introduces it and there's some stuff after it. So the one that I got off of Napster in 2000, it clipped off those ends and just kept it at the song. So yeah, that was lifted from Kenny Everett's radio show.
Okay. So it wasn't them yelling and doing little
Fart
things.
noises? Well, there were fart noises. I don't know if those were Jeff or Kenny's. Probably Kenny's.
Okay.
making the fart noises at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. Um. All right. We one more bonus comment. This comes from Mr. Blue 735, who made the comment at our YouTube page,
Okay.
the Electric Light Orchestra podcast channel. If we get 1,000 listeners, then we can actually start making some money from it. So far, we're at 67, and a little bit more to go. Not listeners, subscribers. You don't even have
Subscribe.
to. Yeah, just go subscribe. You don't even have to do anything. You don't even have to go and listen. Just be a subscriber. And Mr. Blue writes, I'm 13, and I 100% agree that today's music is nothing compared to this music. Well, I took that as a good thing, although I suppose it could be taken as a bad thing too. But I'll take it as a good thing.
Yes, I'll take it as a good thing as well. That's what a lot of people have realized. I mean, that we're the first generation, I think, where when we complain that the music isn't as good as it used to be, we're right.
Yeah,
All the other generations, it was just all things have changed, and I hate change.
yeah.
I hate the fact that I hate the fact they're not listening to the stuff I listen to because it makes me feel old.
All those screaming guitars, it's nothing like what Glenn Miller used to do. That was music. Although Glenn
Yeah.
Miller is music. I do love Glenn Miller. And I love Nirvana too. Well, I like Nirvana. So,
So it was that kind of attitude. These days, it's well, you can actually quantify why the music sucks. You can actually break it down musically as in well, somebody just took a keyboard, went down, bow, and then the same songwriter that wrote the other 90 songs on the top 100 right now
mm,
sat there in a committee with everybody else and said, okay, well, yeah, we're gonna say baby a bunch of times,
yeah.
and then we're going to talk about how I die without you.
See, I like that PM Dawn song. But that was back when they used to make music, back in the
Yes.
early 90s.
And
Um,
then we'll just throw in a bunch of nonsense lyrics and then just a hook here and a hook there and a hook there. Oh, and don't forget the rap interlude
yeah.
from somebody whose career ended about 15 years ago, and we're going to try and bring him back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and then we'll just throw this out there, and hopefully and hopefully it'll score.
yeah.
And of course, what ends up becoming Song of the Year is WAP,
Yeah.
which is a horrible song, but still actually is better than anything I just described. It's more frighteningly.
That's really bad. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah, it's good to know because I thought maybe it's just, something that happens when you get in your 40s and 50s. Kids' music today sucks. But it turns out, no, it's true. It actually does suck.
Yeah, because no, I mean, I've been more than willing to give a lot of stuff a listen,
Mm-hmm.
and there's still a lot of good stuff out there
Yeah.
being done by people half our age.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you notice, it sounds like music being done by people twice our age. Because that should tell you something about the state is that people that want to go out and actually grab a guitar and start listening, I mean, start making their own music. Well, actually, they want to grab a guitar and they want to make their own music, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and so it sounds like something that was done years ago, just like Greta Van Fleet sounds like Led Zeppelin.
Yeah. There was a band on Colbert a couple years ago, and they did a song, and I loved it. I want to say Lemon Pipers, but I know it wasn't the Lemon Pipers.
I noticed that they've been gone a long, long
Yeah,
time.
it was lemon something, and I can't remember what the other something was. And other people tell me, and I'll look it up after we're all done with this. And it's like, all right. And they did a song, and they got a
Yeah,
video that was funny, and it was really great. I loved it. And so yeah, I mean, it's not everything that sucks. Seems like it's just the popular stuff that sucks, which, you know what? Thinking back to the mid to
Talking
late
back when we were
80s through
kids.
the 90s, yeah, it was the popular stuff that sucked. So
Yes.
has music really changed all that much?
Yeah, because even the popular stuff that sucked back then sucked a little bit less than it does now.
It still required talent to play instruments and for a band to play instruments, not somebody in their bedroom, you know, doop, 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 and then programming and lining things up.
We were still kind of teenagers when New Kids on the Block showed up.
I'm not saying they were great, but they were actual instruments being played by,
That's true.
even if they were
That's
studio
true.
musicians, they knew what to do to put a song together,
Yeah.
even if that song sucked. All right.
Yes.
I've been holding back a cough for the last 5 minutes, so we probably should wrap this up now so I can get this out of the way.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
yeah, similar. It'll echo.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. We still need to come up with a sign off.
Yes, we do.
I love you, Pam.
It is signing off.
I love you, Pam. Hey,